Hey folks, my name is Rene Enriquez. Welcome back to Uncensored. Today we're going to continue with Boxer Sits Down with LAPD. This is the third episode. It's about 30 minutes long. I wanted you guys to hear just a different take on intervention. And I wanted to give it to you raw, uncut, unedited, and that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing real studio footage from professional cameras, a righteous studio. We're having open conversations with cops and floating around ideas. And I think one of these is like free fire zones. It's one of the big key issues we talked about here. And we pounded on that over and over and over about novel approaches. But I wanted you to see this and hear about me describing it to you. Because I've just been putting the clips up as they are, and you guys have been watching them, and that's great. I appreciate the viewership. I appreciate all the support in the channel. But this was years and years ago. I was flown in to ARTC by the SWAT team and dropped off there, given a security detail. And we spent the whole day in the studio filming these. And there's a lot more. I'm running out these segments to you in chronological order so that you get a feel of what the shooting day was like for me. And you'll note that in the video, I'm wearing leg irons. And what you don't see is a huge and massive security detail behind me and around me and on top of the roof and in helicopters. And like this is a massive display of law enforcement manpower to secure an objective, which is to create a intervention video for the GRID project, Gang Reduction Youth Development Project, and training material for the Los Angeles Police Department. The chief was there. At the chief, it was kind of a big deal to do something like this. It hadn't been done before by LAPD, and I appreciate the opportunity that they gave me, and some of those individuals, like Randy Holcomb, is I still communicate with him, call him once in a while, still a brother to me, and good man, But I wanted you to see this video, enjoy it, take it in. Remember, many years ago, and I was still in leg irons, which indicates I was still incarcerated. I'm no longer incarcerated. I'm going to start the video now. Hope you enjoy it, folks. I'll be back at the end. Had I known then what I know now, I believe that I could have been a productive member of society. I mean, the limitations would have been, endless. The possibilities would have been amazing. And I try to press that upon my kids. But for individuals that think this is cool for their children. I've been sitting in prison blocks where Mexican Mafia members say, hey, my son drove up, I'm going to pull him over to the block and it's going to be great. We're going to have old times and party. And it saddens me and it's repugnant to the point where, I want to tell them, what the hell are you thinking? This is your child and you're happy that he's in prison. You should consider yourself a failure as a man that you allowed this to happen and you embrace this and you involved him in this. I've seen Mexican Mafia members involve their wives, their mothers, their children in criminal activities. It's something I never did. I knew better than to do that because it's a complete and utter corruption of their moral fiber. I knew what it did to me. I knew the experiences I went through. So I did everything I could to keep my kids out of this and my family out of this.
So if you were gonna speak directly to, the parents of, children growing up in adverse conditions, parents that had children that potentially, were going down that road to gang membership or, what advice would you give to a parent who's concerned about their children, concerned about where they're going? I mean, what kind of influence, what line would they take? Would they be hardliners? What should a parent do? And with your experience, what would work for you? What would you say to them?
Be a hardline parent. When they see the behavioral changes, particularly in grades, in the change in apparel, mannerisms, truancy, change in friends, individuals who look as if they fit the role model for gang members, raise a fuss, be involved, become involved on a daily basis with teachers, educators, individuals such as law enforcement, intervention programs, and talk to their kids. Really talk to the kids about the realities, about the drug use, about the sex, about the incarceration, about death, because that's what this life entails, life in prison or death. There are no two other options. Those are the only options. for gang members. I say so because I'm serving life sentences. You know, I thought I was a special individual by being a Mexican Mafia member. We were this elitist group, these guys that were the creme de la creme of the criminal underworld in California. And I always seen myself that way. But once I defected from the organization, I realized that I was already special. My parents loved me. I was a son. My kids needed me. I was a father. My wife loved me. I was a husband. And my siblings, they wanted me to be a normal guy. And it was then that I realized that I'd always been special. You know, kids gravitate towards gangs because they have a specific need. They need to fulfill some desire within them to be accepted. And they have that within the familial unit. I can't say that for every family because there are dysfunctional families, you know, substance abuse, domestic violence, abandonment, you know, broken families. But for the single parent, it's not impossible. I mean, if you intervene early and maintain vigilance about your kids' awareness of gangs, educate them early. Don't let them learn on the street. Teach them what it means. Teach them what gang involvement is. Use tangible and tactile examples. People who are known to them, relatives. Everybody has black sheep in their family. You know, look. For example, you can say, "Look at Uncle Joe. He's a drug abuser. He's a substance abuser. He's been to prison. Is that what you want for your life? That's who you will be." Give them experience in immersion. Immerse them.
So we really want to have that open communication lines with our siblings. And you say utilizing the model role is very critical, which makes sense. Everyone, you know what, and this is not just living in a bad area. You know, even the professionals, kids get into gangs, you know, it's something we understand. Once you fall into it, once you fall into that trap of gangs, you get into drugs, it's hard to change that kid. Mm-hmm. Very combative. Now, going back into intervention, if you were a professional interventionist, it's kind of like what you are. But if you go into a neighborhood and you want to make a big change or try to work in a certain amount of group kids, what would be your biggest challenges? What would your focus be on to deter these youth into either already involved in gangs? How would you try to see how you can change their lives or their mental state to see if you can pull them out?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I know.
That's a tough one. But I have some concepts. I read the grid responsibilities for gang intervention services, and I think they're overwhelming. Consider when law enforcement rolls on the scene of a homicide, and what resources are there? The initial responding officers, homicide detectives, medical examiners, an RA, support staff, a commander, a captain. Who responds? Everybody rolls. Everybody rolls. Mm-hmm. You respond to the crime with adequate resources. Here, when a violent event occurs, when a crime occurs, shooting or a homicide, 2 gang intervention specialists show up. Individuals' tasks are voluminous. They have to, number 1, gather information. They have to reduce rumor control. They have to interrupt violence. They have to provide wraparound services. They have to do follow-ups. They have to submit reports. Tasks such as tattoo removal, job placement, anger management. It's overwhelming for a gang intervention specialist. If a gang intervention team responded, individuals that had clear, delineated responsibilities. One individual is to communicate solely with the gang members and the family. This would be the key component. That communication and that rapport would be a key component in the reduction of retaliatory strikes. I think that the initial response of a gang investigator, I apologize, gang intervention specialist should be the diffusion of rumors, number 1. They did it, he did it, you know, they did it for this. And the establishment of factual communication with the family members and the victims. Are the victim gang members present on scene? From that period, a ceasefire, a period of ceasefire can be established. And it can go under the guise of afford us this opportunity to bury this individual's family, this individual who's been killed. Afford us that simple respect. Let this barrio bury its homeboy. That's a step. a ceasefire. From that point, additional ceasefire periods and free fire zones can be established. Once that's established between gangs, that gang intervention is not law enforcement, that they are working solely for the barrios, they establish this credibility. If, as a gang intervention specialist, I went in and said, look, I went to the gang who was the perpetrator, said, look, they're not going to retaliate. They've agreed for 72 hours or until they get homeboy buried, they're not going to retaliate. And we want that same assurance from you so that they can bury their homeboy. That's one step. That's one step in establishing the credibility and the bona fides of a true intervention specialist. And from there, they can go to event-specific ceasefire periods. One gang, through a neutral party, can request a ceasefire period. Say for grandma's birthday, all the homeboys come and drink at the front yard. They don't want anybody coming and driving by, and you appeal on that basis. You don't want your grandmother being shot at. You don't want your child being shot at. You don't want your mother being shot at. So afford us a ceasefire period for this specific event. It's not condoning the gang violence. It is not saying it's okay to participate in gang violence after this event, but we are appealing to you for this specific event, a quinceañera, a wedding, a birthday party, a park event. And from there, free fire zones can be established. Specific areas such as schools, libraries, churches, and appeal to a gang member's sense of honor, his cultural identity, his acknowledgement of being a sureño. In prisons, they have free fire zones, visiting rooms. There are no hits in visiting rooms, solely for the appearance of respect. It would be disrespectful to kill somebody in front of another person's mother or wife or his kids. This can be implemented in society as well. If you go along the lines of the gang ideology, gang methodology, it can be implemented. But from first blush, for the gang intervention services worker, he's overwhelmed with tasks. I see them coming in and they have to suppress violence, intervene, provide services, counsel, collaborate with law enforcement. The tasks are overwhelming. Well, they should be tasks specific.
So you're kind of saying there should be more than two, a little bit more like a team effort. The big thing is the retaliation. We need to stop that right away. We need to focus on the current investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Ceasefire, it's a good idea. And it's not a peace treaty. Doing a ceasefire in zones, correct?
Yes, well, the key thing to focus on, if you come at gang members with peace treaty, they're going to be resistant because it's not endorsed by the Mexican Mafia. It is not endorsed by the shot callers. There is so much resentment ingrained in gangs that have lost 10, 15, 20 members to rival territories. But a ceasefire is merely a stand-down for a specific period. And if you appeal with this concept, I think it will fly and go a lot easier than coming with a peace treaty. I mean, zone-specific, event-specific ceasefires.
And success would build on success.
Success would feed off itself. I mean, if you have one traditionally hostile group who has a target group, mm-hmm. and they agree to a event-specific ceasefire period, or such as the ceasefire after the killing of a homeboy. One thing that's so important to the gang intervention services worker is that he maintains his bona fides. He goes in and he establishes, I'm not a cop. I'm not here for the cops. I'm here for you. I'm here for this family that lost its son, its daughter, its cousin, whatever it is, its homeboy. I'm here for this specific task of making sure that nothing further happens to these individuals while they're burying the deceased. And that's what they're there for. They establish that. And I'm here to make sure that nobody retaliates against you during this period.